Hi, welcome along to the Monday Night Hangout, live here on Arsenal Fan TV, where we're going to be discussing all things Arsenal. I've got with me tonight Rayan. How you doing, Rayan?
I'm good, Robbie, but things could be better, to be honest.
Definitely could be better. Moran, we've got from the Global Gooners.
Yeah, today's a better day than it was yesterday, at least.
Jack, also from the Global Gooners.
There's nothing there, mate. There's nothing there.
And we've got also Claude. How you doing, Claude? You calmed down a bit now?
Still depressed, mate. Still depressed.
Still depressed. Listen, on the whole depressing thing, let's talk about the game. Let's get straight into it. Yesterday, Arsenal leading 1-0. Very unconvincing first half. Leading 1-0. Looking good when they were leading 1-0. Then they concede the free kick, and then they go and throw away a 1-goal lead and lose the game. And I'm going to go to you first, Claude, because I interviewed you after the game, and the video has actually gone a bit viral. The video of me interviewing you. You was in a very, very bad or mad mood, should I say, after the game. I mean, what did you make of it?
I just thought the performance was very, very poor. It's just without the ball, when we haven't got the ball, it was atrocious. I mean, everyone I was speaking to was having a go at Callum Chambers, but there was no protection. And funny enough, you said, Robbie, that you thought Chamberlain had a great game, but a part of his game is to help Callum Chambers, and he wasn't doing his job, was he?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, Callum Chambers, who I think's done great since he's come in at Arsenal. I think the last few games he has been very exposed. I thought against Anderlecht they targeted him. They definitely targeted him yesterday. Montero had him in all kinds of trouble. Do you think that maybe Wenger should have maybe even taken him off? I mean, he was on a yellow card as well. So do you reckon he should have been taken off, Claude?
Well, not that only that. I don't know why, and I cannot understand. I don't know if he's doing it because the media are telling him to do it, and he's being stubborn. But I don't know why he didn't have Bellerin out there in that position with his speed, and Callum in the middle as centre half, because his height would have stopped that goal, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't understand what's going on there. I just don't understand. Is he picking Monreal because he's a senior professional that he has to pick him? Now, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if any of the other boys can throw light on it, because I can't understand it.
I mean, let me go to you, Rayan. Let's move to Monreal. Of course, the second goal, he didn't jump basically, and an easy header in the end. I mean, such an easy and sloppy goal to give away. I mean, what did you make of our defence yesterday?
Well, frankly, I think the defense is just a culmination of all the bad things about the club so far. I mean, you take injuries into account, players being played out of position, and pretty much it's just all anti-logical when it comes to Arsene Wenger setting up the defense. And millions of people around the world, in the footballing world, can recognize that it's probably more prudent to have Callum Chambers playing centre back and Hector Bellerin playing at right back. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case yesterday. We paid the price. I mean, Monreal not jumping for that header, it's a bit inexcusable, because at the end of the day, he's a professional footballer. Say he was, if he was playing in his left-back role and that cross had coming from the left, you'd still expect him to jump, wouldn't you?
Mm.
You might as well have Ronnie Corbett out there.
I'm not sure if they're too young to remember Ronnie Corbett, Claude. But listen, let me ask you, Jack. Here, the defence at the moment is so ropey, and Rayan and both even there, Claude, talking about Callum Chambers playing at right back, and a lot of fans, including those two guys as well, a lot of fans saying to me yesterday that Callum Chambers should be playing at centre back. However, when he played at Southampton, he played as a right back. That right back is his natural position, Jack.
Yeah, you can talk about Callum Chambers, Hector Bellerin, Monreal all day. The back four, we have lots of injuries. We were exposed on the weekend, but it also has to go as a whole team mindset. do we have the mindset of a team, the commitment to defend as a team? We see with, just an example, Jose Mourinho's Chelsea. Watching Oscar play the center attacking mid role for Chelsea, he's running all over the place on defense. They have a real commitment to defend. With the Arsenal players right now, there's no accountability. There's no responsibility to defend in those roles. And Claude mentioned it earlier with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Where's Oxlade-Chamberlain? Where's our center attacking mid, Santi Cazorla? Where's our Matthew Flamini as well in that holding midfield role? Where's the commitment to defend as a team? Sure, things aren't great right now having a left back playing center back, and you can debate Callum Chambers and Hector Bellerin all day, but it starts off with a mindset. It starts out with a mentality, and right now we don't have the commitment to defend as a team.
Yeah, I agree.
Moran, whose fault is all this? Whose fault is it that we're not defending as a team? Whose fault is it the shambles that we got in the defence at the moment? We got Arsene Wenger sitting there. We got Steve Bold, used to be a brilliant defender when he played for Arsenal, sitting there. Whose fault is it? Is it the players? Whose fault is it?
I guess you gotta mix them all together. Maybe it's also Wenger just not preparing well enough. Again, we were mentioning Monreal at center half, Chambers at right back. Sure, Chambers has played right back previously for Southampton, but he's got the size of a center back. He's tall, lanky. He's got the particular size of a center half. So push him to the center half and bring Bellerin on was my logical. That's what I would have went out there with. Or even you also have a youngster in Isaac Hayden who you could also bring up at any time. But it's also him. You also got to bring the work rate from all the players that are willing to track back in defending. And it seems like only Sanchez is the one that's willing to run all over the pitch and have that willingness to actually stick in a tackle when on the other side of the field. But
also, we can we about Wenger all day as well, which he has to take a fair share of the blame. But as a player, we all see those pictures on Twitter when we're 3-2 up on Anderlecht in the 90th minute, and there's 7 of us going forward. We're 1-0 up against Swansea in the 70th minute, and there's 7 of us going forward and we get counterattacked. The responsibility is also on the players. The responsibilities on the center defensive mids, on the center attacking mids, and say, you know what, I'm not going to go up for this attack. I'm going to hang back just in case. We're already 1-0 up. We have nothing to lose. We got to take the chances to kill the game off. It's the players and the manager. It's tough to put blame on one person. It has to be a collective effort to take that blame.
Jack, shouldn't they?
Yesterday, you firmly put the blame on one person, which is Arsene Wenger. You said that you want him out. Is it his fault?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. He should be drumming that into the players.
Yeah.
And if they're not taking any response, if they're not doing it week in, week out, dropped. They should be dropped, and someone else should be coming in. This is not. He's on £8.5 million a year, and so his responsibility. What's he otherwise? What is he there for?
Claude, as I said, going back to yesterday, you quite categorically said that you want him gone. Do you think? You look at it. Players do have to take responsibility, but the instructions come from the manager. If the team's playing well, everybody gives the manager plaudits. If the team's not playing well, and they get done the same way 2 games in a row, it's almost like they learnt their lesson. Is that the players, or is that the manager's philosophy that's all wrong? Do you think he's past it when it comes to tactics?
Well, in other words, if the players are not taking any notice of him and they keep saying, "Oh, we're sorry," but they're still doing the same mistakes week in, week out, that means they're not obeying his obstructions. It means his job's unattainable.
Yeah, but Claude, I'm going to use Aaron Ramsey as an example. What made Aaron Ramsey so good last year was his ability to score goals, get assists. But last year, he was a great defensive player as well. That's what we all love. Aaron Ramsey was box-to-box midfielder. He could do it all. That's what we liked about him. This year, he's nowhere to be found on the defensive side of the ball. Nowhere to be found. He has to take blame for that as well.
Yeah, and then the manager tells him
he's that box-to-box, but then Ramsey's not showing up. He's only going one way. He's not even doing his one way properly.
Yeah, but then the manager tells him he's got to concentrate not on scoring goals. What's that all about? That's one of his main strengths, and the manager's telling him not to worry about scoring goals. What's that all about?
Well, he's got to do both, man. He's got to do both, and that's on him.
Jack, listen, Jack. Whose fault is that? If you've got Aaron Ramsey, who he's not doing his defensive duties, as Claude just said, shouldn't the manager then say, listen, if you're not going to do your defensive duties, you're going to be out of the team? Bit like what Jose Mourinho did with Hazard last year, when everybody was bigging him up and saying, he's great going forward. Mourinho shot him down and said, listen, you've got to start defending for the team. Is this being said to Aaron Ramsey?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, Ramsey has had less game time, and that could be part of it as well. We don't know if that's him coming back from the injury or not. That could be him, Wenger thinking he's not back to full fitness, or that could be, look, you're not playing on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to sit down. But it's tough for us as fans to say what's being said or not. But at the end of the day, everyone needs to come together. We need to expect everyone to come together and be better. Because it's tough laying blame when you don't know the conversations that are being had. And for all we know, Steve Bold could be the one completely in charge of defensive duties. I don't know. I'm just a fan, right? I don't know what's going on, the systematics behind everything, but as a fan, you just expect everything to be collectively better.
Maybe those players should look at Alexis Sanchez and his work rate and follow what he's doing as well. Instead of just, they should look at him. Look at Sanchez. He's the example that they should all be looking at.
No. I mean, let me ask Rayan. Rayan, listen. Whose fault is this mess that we've got? We've got a mess at the moment in defence. It's a mess. I know we've got a lot of injuries, but we literally went into this season with 2 centre-backs. 2. Last season we only had 3 centre-backs, by the way, which again we was short, and we got lucky with that because Koscielny and Mertesacker stayed injury-free. And when they did have slight niggles, Vermaelen could drop in. But we had Sanya, who played over on the right, but can also cover that position. And in previous years, we've had players like Song who can cover that position. But this season, we went into this season with 2 centre halves. Now the fact that Koscielny's out and we've only effectively got 1 proper centre half, surely the fault of this shambles in defence has to fall with the manager.
You know what? I think that goes without saying. In a word, of course, it's the manager's fault. I mean, how can you? It's almost insane to think that you can make mistakes like that. How can you be so naive to approach the season with only 2 centre-backs and consistently failing to remedy these mistakes? There's a part of the brain that deals with a phenomenon called operant conditioning, which is where we learn from our mistakes. We've taken action, we face the consequence, and then we know not to do that action again in the future. Is that part of Arsene Wenger's brain missing? I mean, I don't know what's been going on recently, but frankly, I think he needs to really maybe take a step back and realize what he's been doing, because if you were to graph, I guess, Arsenal's performances, although this might be a bit subjective, general trend seems to be down. And that's down to the manager, defensive frailties, what have you. Just the overall philosophy and style of play, how we approach the games, it's absolutely catastrophic. And it can only be put down to Arsene Wenger. But I digress. I can go on for hours, I tell you.
Where do you stand on that, Moran? Where do you stand on that, Moran? Because, again, another position that every Arsenal fan, pundit, expert, you name it, has been crying out and saying Arsenal should get a holding midfielder, world-class holding midfielder. With the team they got, tighten up the defence a bit, there'll be a team that will be able to challenge for the title. We failed to get that player. I mean, are you surprised, Moran, at these things?
Yeah, especially when the club's informing everyone that they've got money in the bank, or no more debts, we're debt free. So you see managers like Jose Mourinho willing to spend the cash. Even Louis van Gaal spent so much cash. We were one or two players away from winning the league last year, a holding mid, and a striker from winning last year. And this year, another 2-3. We were 2-3 players short by near the end of the transfer market, where we could have snatched one or two more defensive midfield and a defensive cover. And Wenger was just too stubborn to really go into the market. And he has too much commitment with the players he has. Players like Morial, really, because if you're willing to put a broken down, I don't want to be too harsh, but a broken down left back in the center back role in the Premier League, very physical league, it's not well prepared for my opinion.
You're being kind, mate.
Is that lack of preparation going to ruin our season, Jack? I mean, I know you're very pro Arsene Wenger, but surely he's got to take a lot of the blame for what is going wrong at the moment with the club. I mean, the defence is a shambles, Jack.
Yeah, like even of his title-winning teams of old, right? The Invincibles. We had a 4 center back rotation. We had 4 players that we could put in that center backs. Even with the strikers, we had a rotation of 4 good strikers to play in those 2 roles. We had Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, Sylvain Wiltord, and Kanu. That we could all 4 good players for 2 spots. That's what it takes to have a title-winning squad for your strikers, for your center backs, and even for your midfield. 4 good center mids for 2 midfield spots, and he's not even following his own recipe of success that he's had in the past.
So I have to ask you the question then: Has he lost it? Has he lost it? Is it time for him to just say, has he lost it, or is this just he's just having a bad time early in the season?
It's tough. As you said, I've always been very pro Wenger. Last year, I was on the fence. I gave him another chance, another year to kind of prove himself. And this year, he's not living up to his expectations that he set up. We've digressed. We had an FA Cup winning squad. We added Alexis Sanchez. We added Danny Welbeck, and somehow we're still worse off. I put a lot of faith in the man, but it's kind of slowing down a little bit now, and I'm sure there's lots of others out there like myself as well.
Now, Claude, listen, there's been fans, you included, right?
Well, where do you stand?
On the verge of civil war, right? Now, we saw the video of you yesterday, you and Ty arguing. He's very pro Wenger, you want Wenger out. I mean, it's starting to even drive a little divide between the fans. I mean, where are you? You said yesterday you want him to go, yeah? Now, the question I've got to ask you this: is it ridiculous to get rid of a manager this early in the season?
Yeah.
Because is there any suitable replacements out there? Even if you did get rid of him, are there any suitable replacements out there at this moment in time that will come in and do better than what he's doing? Remember, whoever comes in is still going to have the problems with injuries, etc. Is this the time to be talking about managers going and replacing managers, Claude?
Yeah, I want to know where you stand, Robbie, on this. Where do you stand on it?
So I'm asking you the question.
No,
you answer my question.
I'm asking you. We've not heard what you
Okay, I'll answer something right now. You can't make a club with the size of Arsenal Football Club, you can't make those decisions mid-season. No, if we make the decision to go not with Wenger, that has to be done at the end of the season. That gives the new manager time.
I want to ask Claude that question because he said yesterday, Claude, you said yesterday that you want him gone and you want him gone now. Now, who would you replace Arsene Wenger with? What replacements do you think Arsenal? Say the board went with what you were saying. Who could we bring in to replace him at the moment that would make things better?
Short term, short term? Maybe bring Dennis Bergkamp in.
Dennis Bergkamp has got no experience.
Thierry Henry as an assistant there, Claude.
Hold on.
To run a club like Arsenal, let's face it. If you lose 2 games in a row, you see Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea lose 2 games in a row, it's virtually a crisis. Liverpool, we've seen it with them. Now, Dennis Bergkamp has got no experience of managing a club at that level. Be realistic, Lord. Who could you bring in? If you got rid of him right now, and you, like you said, you want him out, who could you think that you could bring in right now to replace him?
I think. Hello.
Yes.
I think short term, I think he can lift the players. I think short term he can lift the players, and I think he'd be a good idea. I want to know what you think, Robbie. You're not telling me how you are, where your position is on this.
I'm interviewing.
Come on.
Listen, I will tell you.
Let's get the spin.
I will tell you, Claude. I will tell you. My personal opinion is, at this stage of the season, listen, there is no doubt whatsoever that the faults and the problems with the defence at the moment at Arsenal Football Club, as far as I'm concerned, are the fault of Arsene Wenger. He didn't go. He should have went out there and bought 2 centre backs, not even 1, 2. Because especially after we lost Bakary Sagna, we needed cover in that area, especially when you think about our history of injuries. We needed cover defensively, and we should have bought a world-class defensive midfielder. If we would have made those signings, we still may have had some problems because obviously the injury to Debuchy, etc., that would have hindered us. But I genuinely think if we would have made those sort of signings, we could be challenging for the title. And for Arsene Wenger not to make those signings and for the problems that we've got now, it is his fault. No doubt of that, in my mind whatsoever, it's Arsene Wenger's fault. However, I stop short of saying that he should get rid of him now. I think that's a bit, in my opinion, I don't agree with that because, you've got to wait and see what happens till the end of the season. That's my opinion. At the end of the season, if it's as poor as it is now, then of course you've got to start looking at targets, and there'll be managers out there that we could try and bring in. But at this stage, I hear a lot of fans saying he's got to go right now.
Yeah, but Robert,
replace him with, we could end up worse. We could end up mid-table or worse if we. Careful.
This season's over for us anyway. So what we got to lose?
Well, easy. Come on, it's not over, man. We're in November.
We're
in November, man. Come on.
It's the usual fight for 4th place again, and possible. I mean, if we get a good team in the FA Cup, we won't even go through there. So.
Okay, that's a fair point, Claude. That's a fair. I totally agree. But what Robbie's saying as well is, if we do replace a manager now, instead of that 4th place being in the Champions League next year, we could be 7th or 8th. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I just personally think that, to replace him right now, talk to Dennis Bergkamp. He sounds great, he's brilliant on paper.
Sorry, guys.
But he's got no experience of manager. To manage one of Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, lose 2 to 3 games in a row, and people are already talking about you've got to go. Your job's on the line. So it's a very, very big job, Claude. I agree with you that the problems, that what I can see this season, the problems are all with the manager. Yes, the players have got to take responsibility, but to me, I agree with you on that, Claude, that the problems in defensively are of the makings of the manager, who made some great signings, but just didn't go the full way and make those extra signings that would have made us challenge for a title. Let me get Rayan in.
Hold on.
What's your view on it, Rayan? I'll come back to you, Claude. What's your view on it,
Rayan? You know what, Robbie? I actually agree with you, and I partly agree with Claude as well. I think, I'm 100% sure that Wenger has to go at the end of the season. He simply cannot go now because that'll be, beyond the crisis. Because realistically, there's no one we can replace him with at this point in time. However, at the end of the season, that's when he's got to go. And the reason I'm saying that is because you can't just treat this season as if it's a one-off. Oh, we didn't perform very well. Assuming that we performed really well over the past 10 years, which we haven't. It's been a 10-year decline. I mean,
who would you replace him with? Realistic targets out there, managers that you could replace him with who'd do a better job, in your opinion?
Look, I mean, I see all the talk about Jurgen Klopp. Look, I can't see that happening, and I don't know. Perhaps
Klopp the answer, considering they're second from bottom or third from bottom in the Bundesliga at the moment.
I mean, I'm not going to comment on Jurgen Klopp, but I think perhaps Roberto Martinez or even Ronald Koeman from Southampton.
Bertrand Martin is below Arsene Wenger at the moment. He's not having the greatest of times either.
Fair point. Fair point. Although
Ronald Koeman, I know I'll play devil's advocate here. You know me already, but Ronald Koeman having a great season at the moment, but so did Pochettino last season, and we're all seeing what he's doing at the moment at Tottenham. This is why you've got to be careful, right?
Tottenham, though. That's that's apples and oranges. But look, when George Graham left, we replaced him with Arsene Wenger, and not many people even knew who Arsene Wenger was at the time. So maybe our next manager could be an unknown like that as well. But the point is, we do need some sort of change. We need a manager who's aware, who's conscious of the modern game, because football, as we know, evolves. It evolves continuously. And unfortunately, Arsene Wenger has not grown with the times.
Moran,
it's as simple as that.
What about you, Moran?
As to who should be the next manager?
Do you think it's time for Arsene Wenger to go?
Well, it's reached a point where the club is just not looked upon as the same way as clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona. It's depressing to see that when stretch of runs like these are sort of expected every year, every season now, and everyone's really expecting Arsenal to really collapse, self-destruct. It's like expected of them now. So it's just. There's a perception of a big club such as Arsenal has just completely changed in world football. For a manager, Arsene Wenger, I'm a big supporter of him. As to what he's done for the whole club since he's gone here. But it's reached a point where he has lost touch of world football, and it's changed dramatically, and he's just not up to date with it so as clearly as it seems. So as to who I believe should replace him, there's so many names. I've always liked Joachim Löw, the German national coach. If he's willing to take a challenge, then he should come to Arsenal, I guess.
Let me just do a quick straw poll here. So Ryan, Wenger in or out?
Out.
Moran, in or out?
Yeah, I want to say out, but I'm gonna give him a little bit more time, see how it progresses. I can't just say out yet.
All right, so you're in.
For now, yeah.
All right, and Jack?
I'm in. You know me, Robbie. I'm in. We're going to be having a conversation in 1 month. We're going to be on a 4-game winning streak. We're going to be in, man.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's the point. We're so naive to think that just when we get a run of winning games, that all our problems disappear.
Yeah,
our problems have been there for a long, long time.
I agree, but Robbie, the way I took your question, the way I took Robbie's question was right now. If I had to have the decision to make...
Hold on, Jack. In or out, Claude?
Well, first of all, I want to finish what I was saying before. You said about experience. That guy that was managing Swansea last night, he didn't have much experience, did he? Good point.
But that's Swansea you're managing.
Yeah.
And if you can go and you could... If he'd have lost that game yesterday, Gary Monk, nobody would have said anything. If he lost next week, the week after that, nobody probably, as long as they're not in the relegation zone, as long as they, stay around mid-table, Gary Monk will be all right. If you're managing Arsenal and you lose 2 games in a row,
even draw,
starting to question your job. They're starting to say, is this guy the right guy for the job? Why did we give it to him? We want him out. It's a different type of job, Claude. To managing Swansea and managing Arsenal are poles apart.
And also, Dennis has got experience of coaching at Ajax at the moment as well. So
youth coaching.
And youth coaching is completely different to coaching. Listen, I'm not saying that Bergkamp couldn't do it, but I'm just saying that would be a very, very risky move.
Rob, can I just jump in and say something quickly?
Are you in or out then?
Sorry?
In or out then?
I'm afraid. I love the guy. He's done a fantastic job for the club. He's been brilliant for us. But I think it's like I said yesterday. When the milk goes bad, you don't put it back in the fridge.
Exactly.
But okay, I just want to address what Rayhan said to me just earlier there.
I really love that line about in and out, the milk one. That was a classic. But so right there you have our split. You got 2 ins and 2 outs, and that's sort of well, it's reflective at the moment of the fan base, and it's a very unhealthy split at the moment. When not everybody is behind the manager. I mean, let me get into. I think it was Jack who was just talking about going on runs, etc., and then Rayan saying that people get deluded about runs. Now, let me go to you first on this, Rayan. Let's say Arsenal, the next game up for them, Manchester United at home. Very, very important game. We haven't beaten one of these big teams for a very, very long time. I think this is a game that Arsene Wenger has to win. Not even a draw is going to be good enough. He has to win. And the way we're defending, I know that Manchester United have got a poor defence. The way we've been defending, I mean, if Montero is giving us those sort of problems, what's Di Maria and co going to do? So we're going to have to defend a lot better. But let's just say Arsenal beat Manchester United, beat West Brom in the next game after that, went on a little run, beat Dortmund, but do go on a little run like the guys were suggesting, a bit like Liverpool last year. They just went on this amazing run that brought them back into contention. Now, where would you stand there? Or do you think that it's just not going to happen?
Well, there's something you said just there that pretty much sums it up. And you said that we hadn't beaten Manchester United for ages. That just goes to show you, Arsene Wenger's track record. It'll take a miracle, to be honest, to beat them in the next fixture. And even if we do, then that's one compared to however many losses or draws we've had against Man United in the past. I mean, could that be considered a fluke, or is that a genuine change of fortune? Frankly, I don't think so.
If he goes on a run, though, if they win that, if Arsenal beat Manchester United, then beat West Brom, then go on a little run of games from now up to Christmas, that sort of gets them back. Not into. I don't think we can win the league. Don't get me wrong, but gets us back challenging at least. And then at Christmas they could strengthen. What would you? Would that be a turnaround?
No, because if you put that into perspective, if we do go on a little run, it's not like we're going to win the league. We're going to be back to square one, which is what we do every single year, challenge for fourth. That run will allow us to challenge for fourth, basically. It's not going to propel us to win the league unless Chelsea, who stand, 12 points ahead of us, lose 4 games. That equals 12 points right there.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I know Chelsea look very, very strong. I know Arsene Wenger's conceded the title, but I remember last year, I'm sure Chelsea were about 9 points ahead of Liverpool and got overtaken by Liverpool and Man City. I know this is a different sort of Chelsea, but I mean, look at us last season, how far ahead we were. So nothing's impossible.
Yes, but if you look at this Arsenal team, sorry guys, but if you look at this Arsenal team compared to that Chelsea team this year, it's difficult to believe in every match that we can actually 100% win. There's not a single team in the Premier League that actually fears playing against Arsenal. In fact, they look at the fixture list, they say, oh, Arsenal, I fancy my chances. I think I can get a result here. That's the problem. That's the overall, what's the word? Just the overall essence of it, really.
What about you, Jack? Can Arsenal bounce back? It's been a horrible couple of weeks. Can they bounce back and go on some sort of a run to get them back on track?
Yeah, the reason I said Wenger in before was I thought you were saying, like, today, if you had to make a decision, sack him or keep him, you definitely keep him. You make these big decisions at the end of the season where you can evaluate the whole process and then give the new manager a fresh start, because it would be it'd be a hard situation for a manager to come into, as you said. And if you look at the Arsenal teams of old, in past 5 or 6 seasons, apart from last year, we got off to a really good start last year and then kind of dropped off towards the end. Usually we're a team that has a slow start to the season and has a blinding end. There's been a couple seasons where we've finished 4th after being, what was that year at Tottenham? We were 8 points 8 points down in February or March. We came back then. Obviously, I know that's 4th place. We don't want to be going for that at all. But if we can kind of keep that up, and if we're 9 points, even if we can close that gap to around 6, 7 points at the end of Christmas, the title's still in reach, and I think there's still hope for sure. We still have the FA Cup coming up. The Champions League finishing 2nd, obviously that's a little bit of a stretch. We're going to be playing a big team, but who knows? We could go on a run like 05, 06, be terrible in the league, and do far in the Champions League. So you can call me deluded, call me crazy, but I still have a little bit of hope.
Is he deluded? Is he deluded, Claude?
Well, look at this.
Another tie?
Claude. What are we?
He's got the milk out.
But Claude, let's just say we.
Oh, Claude. Listen, where do you
listen?
Can we beat Manchester United?
Claude, if we close the gap to 7 points, are we okay? Say we close the gap to 7 points at the end of Christmas.
We can close the gap and then it will go back open again. We are not good enough. We're not good enough. There is not a weakness in that Chelsea team at the moment. Not one weakness. They are strong all round. And what they do and what we don't do, they all fight for each other with or without the ball. And that is the main difference.
If Chelsea, let's just say, Claude, I mean, this is a scenario. It's early in the season. Chelsea get a couple of injuries. Diego Costa's out for a couple of months. Fabregas is out. Matic gets an injury. It could change. I mean, you've got to say, although, as we know, the defensive problems, we've left ourselves short, but there have been a lot of injuries at Arsenal. Teams like Chelsea could suffer injuries. If Arsenal went on a run, could they get back in it? And what I also wanted to ask you just before that was, can we beat Manchester United in that game? That is a massive, massive game.
Yeah, I don't think we've got. When we play these teams at home, I don't think it's as bad. It's not as big a problem as if we were playing them away. So we've always got a chance of beating Man United at home. But having said that, it's not beating Manchester United. Is not the what it's going to be. It's beating Chelsea and beating Man City. They're the teams that we've got to beat to win the title. You see where I'm coming from, mate?
But it would still be a big, say, for instance, morale booster if they could beat Manchester United, especially coming off of such a poor couple of weeks.
Well, no, I don't think beating Man United is a big thing at the moment because, I mean, even Leicester City can beat Man United. I mean, come on, it's not. At this present moment, I can see that Man United game could end up 5-5 as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the way things are going, I mean, there's two sides that can't defend at the moment, so it's not a marker. You can't put that game down as a marker.
Let's get Moran in there. Moran, can it be a game changer? I mean, it would be a morale booster if Arsenal could beat a team that they haven't beaten for a very long time. Regardless of what Claude's saying, they do have a lot of good players at Manchester United. And it will be a difficult game. Remember, against Manchester City, they went down to 10 men, Man United, and they only lost 1-0. They put up a good fight in that game. It's going to be a tough game. Do you think we can take them out?
Well, I think if all these mid-table teams can take out Manchester United, why can't Arsenal, really? But that's the thing. Since the last time we've beaten them, it's really been downhill since then, with all the departures of players. It's the way the club's been just the direction the club's been heading since their last win. If they could get a win, obviously positivity would go through all the fans and the squad could be lifted. But again, I just feel like every time we play Manchester United, I feel like they just, despite how putrid they are at defending, it's just I feel like they always know how to defend Arsenal. I feel like they just know how to pressure. I always feel like Arsenal have a troubled time in really breaking them down, as well as other teams. If they're struggling to break down, teams like Tottenham and Hull, it's going to be tough, even going up against a putrid Manchester United defense, and we could be in for a long day. But I expect 3 points, nothing short of.
expect 3 points, nothing short of. It's going to be a very tough game there. Listen, I just want to, just before we go here, I just want to gauge from you guys if you believe there can be a turnaround. We got to say it's been a poor start to the season, lots of draws. And you know what, when you look at it, we've actually only lost twice this season so far. We've lost to Chelsea and we lost away to Swansea. Not an easy place to go. Can there be a turnaround, Ryan, between now and the end of the season? Is it impossible to say that Arsenal are going to challenge, put in any kind of challenge for, the top spot?
No, you can say that we can challenge for the top spot, but realistically, will we be up there within, let's say, 3-4 point range of the leaders? Probably not. But anything can happen in football. But honestly, I'm a big believer in statistics, and I'd say the odds are really, really low.
What about you, Moran? I mean, last season, Liverpool weren't really performing that great, and then they just went on this amazing run, nearly won the title.
Yeah, for sure. And usually Chelsea, they don't really falter against the big teams. It's usually the smaller mid-table, relegation squads that they struggle against. But just seeing how they're built this year, with no really that big of a weakness on their squad, if any, it's tough to really see them having the mentality to really come short in a game against anybody really. So it's gonna. I really don't expect us to come close to Chelsea. Maybe compete, but as to winning the league, I don't think this is the year, to be honest.
Jack, what about you?
Definitely have to agree with them and say it's a smaller chance, but we've started off the season with, I'm going to say, 2 of our 3 best players injured for most parts of it. I consider Koscielny, Ozil, and Alexis Sanchez our 3 best players, and 2 of them being out injured for basically the start of the season. That's a big, big gap that any team would have to fill. Obviously, we don't have the depth to do that. As I said, it's going to be a small chance for a title-winning squad. Yes, very, very small, but title-challenging squad, you always expect Arsenal to title challenge.
Claude?
I hope I'm proved 100% wrong and people can shove it in my face at the end of the season. I really do hope for that because I love the club. But I'm sorry, I can't. I don't even think. Do you know what? I don't even think we'll finish 4th this year.
Oh, come on!
I don't think we'll finish 4th. I really do. I think we'll.
Name the 3 teams that are going to finish above us then.
Well, I think Liverpool.
I don't know.
Liverpool.
No, come.
I think Liverpool, once Sturridge gets fit, they'll be above us, and I think I even got a feeling that Everton could finish above us. I just at this present moment, unless these players start to play for the manager and start to work without the ball and do the things that they're supposed to do, I'm afraid we're not going to be in the top 4 this season.
And I just want to ask you one thing before we go. Have you made up with Ty? I know you guys were going at it yesterday, but I know that you travelled to games together on the coach. I know that apparently you guys are always going at it on the coach together, but it did seem a very heated argument. You kissed and made up after yesterday?
Yeah, we shook hands. I even phoned him today, and I said, it's all a friend. We're all friends again. Listen, man, we get heated. It happens, I mean, he has an opinion. I have an opinion. We disagree. We always disagree. But at the end of the day, we are mates, and it's a game, and we get emotional. And there's no war between us. I can assure you. In fact, we had a good laugh about it today. I phoned him up, and I was sorry. I want to say, I hope there's people coming on saying that the way I was speaking to him as if I was giving him, it was a race attack. It wasn't a race attack, and I hope that people don't think of that as that.
No, that's absolutely ridiculous if people think that. Because I know the 2 of you, and I know the 2 of you get on really well. And I'm glad that you the two of you made it up, and I know that. Listen, what a lot of people don't understand is the passion of fans when they come out of a game. The emotions are still running high, and it's just the passion of the fans. And you got two fans here. I know these guys, Claude and Ty, two guys that love Arsenal to absolute death, and I really, really respect you guys, and I'm glad that you guys have made up. I want to thank you guys for coming on
The
tonight.
trouble is he's deluded, mate. That's the trouble.
I want to thank you very much, Claude, for coming on tonight. Thank you, Jack, for the Global Gooners, Moran, and also Rayan. It's been a pleasure to have you guys on tonight. Let's hope that the next time we're on after the international break, we can be a bit more upbeat, talking about a victory over Manchester United.
See the milk here, look. It's going stale.
Milk.
Going stale.
Arsenal's lactose intolerant now.